district manager here at the Charles Soil Conservation District. We are the Soil Conservation District, but we certainly have a lot of other partners here in our office.
So what are soil conservation districts?
We are called a political subdivision of the state, and we work in a partnership with our partners, the Maryland Department of Agriculture and the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service. So although we answer to independent board of supervisors, we work collectively to carry out conservation in this particular county and of course throughout the state. As far as the Soil Conservation District, the Maryland Department of Agriculture and the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, being that we represent the local, state, and federal individuals that might provide you some assistance, I think it's a great model in this state that you can have various government entities working together, and the individual that is getting that assistance doesn't have to worry with where that help is coming from. We are all there as providing that assistance regardless, and maybe that's the greatest opportunity that a farmer has to get that help and not have to go to 3 different locations.
Does every county have a soil conservation district?
Every county in Maryland has a soil conservation district. So they just follow the boundaries of that particular county. One county, Frederick, has 2, the Frederick Soil Conservation District and the Catoctin Soil Conservation District.
What other types of agricultural service providers are located in the Charles County Service Center?
At the Charles County Soil Conservation Service Center, we have the Charles Soil Conservation District ourselves and the Maryland Department of Agriculture with offices here. And we're hoping, unfortunately we don't have it yet, and we're hoping that the presence of the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service will also be here in the long run, because it's a one-stop shop, and being on a 140-acre farm here with a 10,000 square foot office space, I think it will accommodate the one-stop shop really well, like other districts have.
What are some of the reasons a farmer or farm landowner should visit a soil conservation district office?
All the districts have such great resources at their disposal, with funding availability and just the technical expertise in planning and design that would really benefit an individual landowner or farmer that needs some assistance.
What are the benefits of participating in a conservation program?
Well, the experts in the field, if you will, are housed at these service centers, and you can have a very seasoned agricultural planner visit with you and give you some great technical advice and offer you opportunities for cost sharing that you may not know of or may not know exist. So,
are there programs available for small diversified farmers?
There are programs available for diversified farmers, and I think that the resource that would be great for someone to tap into would be by contacting the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service. We know that there are. It's just a matter of getting to the right person. At this point, it would be contacting the USDA.
Are there acreage minimums for enrolling in programs?
Whatever acreage minimums there might be for some programs, you'd want to directly contact the Maryland Department of Agriculture or the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service and consult with some of the rules of the programs. But as far as just needing general assistance there, we would love to help anyone who has any size agricultural enterprise and at least, at a minimum, give you some technical assistance.
Are there programs for urban farmers?
Regarding programs for urban farmers, we are fortunate that we can see some great things being done in some neighboring districts having to do with the assistance they're providing the up-and-coming urban farming community. And I think we're right in line with that. And I believe that, seeing what's being done is going to be a great model for us. And as we venture into this, right now we don't have an established program, but I can see it going in that direction. And being in our facility here, I think it would give us a great opportunity to assist a lot of urban farming.
What about farmers using controlled environments?
As far as farmers using controlled environments, I think that there are great opportunities for assistance to be sought through the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, and such as high tunnels, et cetera. And I believe that that is the direction that someone should pursue.
So what is the best way for a farmer or landowner to initiate the process?
The best way for a farmer to, I guess, get started with seeking assistance through any of the partnership here or elsewhere would just be to initially contact the Soil Conservation District. Just a cold call would be, we certainly welcome, and I think you benefit a lot from just contacting us and speaking to. We would put you in touch with one of our planners, ag planners, who would give you the proper direction, and that, I think, would be a great first step.
What does a successful conservation practice look like?
A successful conservation practice, for it to be evaluated as whether it's has met what it should do, is basically for it to be measured to the standards that it was designed to. So we have the confidence that if that particular practice is put in that way or built correctly, then it will, carry out the addressing of the resource concern that it's trying to take care of. If it's a waterway, maybe reduce the erosion that's occurring in the field. And if it's a waste facility, then it certainly will eliminate the pollution that would have otherwise been going out towards the stream. So I believe that the successful practice would just be that it met the standards. So we have all the confidence in the world, and the standards are designed that are put out by our federal partners and USDA.
How do you help someone find the best conservation practices for their farm?
I believe that the best way that we can feel that someone has received the best conservation plan for their farm is for them to have worked really closely with the conservation planner, because then that way it not only addresses the advice that planner would have, but also addresses the needs that particular landowner has, and a combination of the two makes a good conservation plan.
What are some of the most popular programs you help farmers with?
As far as the programs that are out there that would assist a farmer, I believe that there are obviously plenty of them that come up and maybe are there for a season. But the Maryland Agricultural Cost Share program is probably very, very popular in providing some of the assistance that our farmers need to carry out conservation and to put in maybe facilities that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to afford. The USDA's EQIP program is also very popular, and I believe that working with the USDA and making sure that they meet all the requirements would be the first step. But that's a very popular program too. And again, it's also because it's providing the assistance that they a farmer would need.
Which program or service do you think is most underutilized?
We have a lot of services that in technical assistance that someone coming in the front door could get, and I believe that in talking to one of our planners, we realized that conservation planning, the whole service is, we do want to have enough planners for all the workload that's out there, but I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. So in that sense, I believe that would be something that's underutilized, just simply because there may be a lot of landowners who don't realize that assistance is out there. And hopefully we can have enough staff to fill the needs.
How can someone figure out if they are eligible to participate in the conservation programs?
Well, for someone to figure out if they're eligible to participate in a program, I believe that there are resources out there, certainly online, that you can identify the different requirements that are there for an individual to be eligible for a program. But it also it's just a matter of just simply contacting the local soil conservation district and speaking to someone that is very familiar with the eligibility requirements and give them some guidance. And I think we can maybe help someone understand if they feel like there's some fine print they don't quite get. But I think that assistance is critical for a landowner to speak to the soil conservation district planner.
So are farmers who lease land eligible?
Farmers who lease land are eligible for these programs, and hopefully that information is out there, but we certainly want to help everyone, and even if it's not their property, they certainly should come in and hopefully get some of the assistance that we provide.
If a farm is owned by a business entity or trust, do all of the members of the entity or trust need to be involved?
Sometimes we have a planner or someone in the district who's assisting a property owner who might be one of many individuals who have a role in ownership of a particular piece of land, and they're seeking the help, and we certainly want to help, and we do want to know what that ownership is like, so that we can actually get a hold of the person who's making the decisions, so we can spend our time getting things done, and actually even though there might be several owners that are involved, at some point it's great to know who it is who's the main decision maker and who's authorized to do so.
Are there any financial qualifications for participation?
With respect to financial qualifications for anyone wanting to participate, I don't think they need to well, I know they don't need to worry with that when it comes to just walking through the front door and just availing themselves of any program that any assistance that we know is available. We certainly will want to share all that. But if there are any requirements, such as there might be with maybe a USDA program, we would at least put them in touch with the right person to say, hey, you need to see if you qualify.
And what does the application process involve?
As far as the application process is involved, we are first dealing with the resource concern, identifying that there is a resource concern out there, so we can make sure that that individual is put in touch with the right path first, because we certainly will provide just general technical assistance, but we with the resource concern identified, we can see if what particular program process they need to go through.
Is there a single set of criteria for all programs, or are there differences among the programs?
There is no single set criteria for for all the programs, but I think you would see a lot of differences because some of these come about um, to address specific needs, and they have to really establish, okay, well, does it meet this checklist requirement? So I would say that there is no single set of criteria, but you would have to investigate it.
Who decides who is approved?
With some of these programs, you'll notice that the individual will notice that there's maybe a complicated process, but in the long run, it's to establish a fair way that they can these applicants are ranked by the measures that have been established, and I believe that ranking process provides a fair way to provide that assistance.
Who does the ranking?
When it comes to the USDA, they would establish the ranking. If they've met, they have points for this, points for this.
Just to make sure it's not like you guys in the back office like lining them all up in a row and saying, nope, we're doing this one. After a conservation program contract is signed, what is the applicant expected to do?
After a conservation program is signed, or the individual has decided to take part and carry out the work that's outlined, their main responsibility is making sure that they carry out the everything per the standards that are out there. It's set up so that there is a place by which you can measure what you're doing, and I think that if you put in a practice, or any practice, agronomic or structural, that if it's met the standards, then that's what your responsibility is, to make sure that it gets done that way.
If an owner operator is struggling to comply with the program requirements, what can they do?
In instances when a farmer is struggling to comply with a particular program, I think that the state programs, there are state individuals to contact to basically plead your case as far as where the struggles are occurring, and they've seen it before. So I think that you have a good resource to someone to speak to resolve your issues. On the federal side, I would just defer that to our federal partners.
Who will conduct inspections of the practice, and how often?
When a practice is being put in, and once it's completed, the individuals that a landowner would rely on for checking out that it is being constructed correctly, it would be us. We serve that role, and we want to be there for the landowner to make sure that they know that what you're putting in is meeting all the requirements. So we are the individuals who would inspect your projects. And of course, you as a landowner will probably be doing it yourself as well, but you do have our technical arm.
When and how does the applicant receive funding?
Funding for some of these programs is carried out once the project is complete and a as-built is done. So it's a final survey of the project, whether it's a real detailed engineering survey or just an observation that the practice was completed. That is the last checkoff, where we are saying it's been done correctly, and that's what happens.
Does the applicant need to keep receipts for reimbursement?
When a project is carried out and money is being spent by the landowner, it's really important that all the receipts are kept, because that's that's part of the requirements that all that information documentation is there. So on the part of the landowner, he or she does have that responsibility to make sure that all the receipts are kept.
Can participants re-enroll when the contract period is over?
As far as re-enrollment for participants, I believe that the answer to whether or not they can re-enroll is usually they can, but it's really a matter of whether that practice is still needed or not.
Is working with Soil Conservation District office the only option for farmers and landowners who want conservation practices on their farm?
When a farmer works with a soil conservation district, we certainly we can have a very active role, or in some instances there are times when an outside service provider can provide some of that assistance if they're registered and they can do that. So it's not always that the soil conservation district has to carry out that particular design, that particular assistance, but we always want to have at least a minor role, so we can be at least providing some degree of guidance to the farmer, even if they might use an outside service provider.